state of Maryland, who joins us right now. Good morning, Governor.
Morning, Governor.
Good morning, guys. Great to be with you.
So, Governor Larry Hogan, we're coming to the closure of your 7th legislative session. Doesn't seem like that, does it? 7 of these things.
Time flies when you're having fun, Cecil.
I'm sure it does with the 188 friends you have down in Annapolis, state senate and House delegates. Let's talk though about the police reform legislation. That's what they're calling it. That is coming to your desk. A whole package of things. Everything from having an independent investigation of use of force to body cameras for every law enforcement officer in the state to misconduct records being made public of officers. You look at this, Governor. Is there anything in here that you kind of see that you could say is okay?
Well, first of all, I think we are interested in some reasonable reforms. Police reform is an important topic, and I think there were a number of positive steps that the legislature had proposed. There's been back and forth between the Senate and the House. The Senate had passed 9 different bills, some of which were really good. They all got totally rewritten over the past day or two by the House, and they basically, put some poison pills in each of the bills, combined them all together with some of the worst possible stuff, along with some positive reforms. And we're just going to have to take a careful look at each one. They haven't been sent to us yet, or they may have come up late last night, but our team is going to be reviewing them. The legislature has kind of been back and forth on this stuff for nearly 90 days, and we don't want to, just quickly. We haven't had time to read what they've slapped together in the past day or so.
But do you know what your options are? I mean, would you have to veto the entire thing, or could you veto
they're all
parts
different
of
bills. There are 5 different bills that they're going to send to us, and we're going to take a look at each one.
When it comes, Governor, to the vaccine, we just got news, and Reuters, you mentioned it yesterday, put out there that the Johnson & Johnson vaccine is cut by some 85% nationwide. What is that going to do to the vaccine? Because, look, Brian Eamon and I think you'd be proud of us. Within the last week, we've got our first shot, our Pfizer shot. We're scheduled to get our second.
Thank you for doing that, and thanks for talking about it so you can convince all your listeners to do it, too.
And M&T, the folks at M&T Bank where we were fantastic, Governor, at the mass vaccination site. It was easy to get through. It was a wonderful experience. But what does this Johnson & Johnson cut do to getting needles in arms?
Yeah, it definitely was. It took all the governors by surprise when we just heard about this at the very last minute. Last Thursday, the White House was telling us that they didn't anticipate any disruption in supply, that we were going to continue to see an increase. And then they kind of sprung it on us, saying they were going to cut nationwide the Johnson & Johnson deliveries for this week by 85%. So for us, it meant we went from nearly 90,000 doses of Johnson & Johnson down to 11,000. So it's a big hit. The good news is that there are some mitigating factors. They did increase slightly the supplies of both Pfizer and Moderna, so it means we can do more of those shots. We did open a FEMA site yesterday in partnership with the state in Greenbelt, where they're going to do 21,000 shots a week. That comes out of a federal allotment, not out of ours. So, all in, we're about 40,000 short of where we thought we were going to be for the week. But we're making adjustments. I mean, there's no question. We're going to try to get everybody who's got an appointment scheduled, all of our mass vac sites and our county health departments, everybody should be able to continue. We're hoping that they'll fix this problem by next week. But the good news is, look, we've now hit 3.2 million vaccines. We did 76,000 of them yesterday. We've already got 78% of all the people over 65 vaccinated, 48% of all the people over 18. So we're almost 80% of the folks that were in the highest risk, and we're almost 50% of everybody that's eligible. So we're making great progress. And we yesterday, we registered 100,000 more people for our mass vac sites, and with pre-registration, we've done 650,000 of those already. So. We're making progress. It's a bump in the road. We're hoping that they can get it fixed. Obviously, we don't control the supply, but we're ready to utilize every single one they can give us.
I know that there was a lot of criticism when this thing first happened about how not being prepared, and I will tell you, I mean, I was critical, but the mass vaccination site is so well run.
Yes,
I mean, they really, everyone who was involved in that, from the state, National Guard, and the University of Maryland, where we went, in Baltimore, should be applauded for how smoothly it has been operating.
Yeah, well, I was just there a couple days ago when we had an event there with a lot of faith leaders to try to, convince more people to go. Today we're opening up a no appointment line, kind of a standby for, we have extra shots when appointments don't show up. So, we're going to be able to have a couple hundred folks just walk up and get one. But that's just one of what's going to be 13 mass vac sites, and they're all running just as smoothly. I'm going to be at the Baltimore County Timonium site, which is switching over to a state mass vac site today. Yesterday we were in Greenbelt and in Montgomery County opening 2 more. And, I just take thanks for saying it. I mean, it's a great partnership between so many different people, our clinical partners, the Maryland National Guard, Maryland Department of Health, and various hospitals. And, they are doing a great job under very trying circumstances. And so we've said from the beginning, we're going to build an infrastructure. All we were waiting for was the vaccines. And, we've got now 3,000 points of distribution. 485 pharmacies. So we're sending them out to doctors' offices, and we have more mass vac sites than I think any other state. We just got one of the few in the country that FEMA put up with us, and we're far ahead of most people. We're in the top 10. Our rate of vaccination is blowing away the national numbers. We're number 4 in America for vaccinating African Americans. Our rate of doing that, we were praised as having the best equity plan in the country out of all 50 states. So, I know people at the beginning were frustrated. So were we when we didn't have enough vaccines. But I think, all the people, thousands of people are working to get millions of people vaccinated, and they're all doing an incredible job.
All right, having said that, the way I've done my math on it, I know you were criticized yesterday by the mayor of Greenbelt for opening up too quickly. The other side of that is, it seems to me by early to mid-June at the latest, we have a chance to say everybody in Maryland could have been fully vaccinated if they chose. They had the opportunity to get 2 doses. At that point, why would we need restrictions that we have now? Why wouldn't a business be able to operate at full capacity if that is the case, if everybody has the ability to be fully vaccinated?
Yeah, there would be no reason whatsoever. That's the whole purpose of getting the vaccines done, is to try to keep people safe and get everybody back to normal. Look, we're doing far better than almost all the states in the country, both on our health metrics and on our economic recovery. So we're outpacing the country and 30-some states in both categories. And we're going to continue to do that. But my goal is to finish doing all the vaccinations as fast as possible, get enough people vaccinated. And, we've got every single business open, but we want to get them all at full capacity with no restrictions.
We're speaking with Maryland Governor Larry Hogan. Once again, the Maryland legislative session is winding up Monday, midnight, sine die. And, Governor, you heard once again during our news broadcast 2 more homicides last night. We had Baltimore City Police Commissioner Michael Harrison on our show yesterday, and we are still, even under these circumstances, this year headed again to 300 homicides, 700 non-fatal shootings. And while police reform is great, Governor, what in Annapolis is happening to deal with this crisis?
Well, that's an excellent question, C4. So last year we had a tough crime package to get the violent repeat offenders off the streets. We had bills to for tougher sentencing for people who commit crimes with guns and who repeatedly shoot people on the streets of Baltimore, and it passed the Senate overwhelmingly. Got stopped in the House. Same thing is happening this year, and I hope your listeners will weigh in with the House members. We've still got a few days left here, but a good anti-violent crime bill did pass the Senate once again. It's being held up in the House. It has not come up for a vote. Instead, they're focused on a bunch of things that are going to make it harder for police to do their jobs and make it easier for violent criminals to continue committing crimes. And it's just it's crazy. This is the number one issue in every single poll, and people of Baltimore are very concerned about the violent crime, as are people all around the state. The city leaders and the legislators continue to fight every effort to stop this crime. I was shocked and outraged yesterday by the mayor's crazy comments about his desire to defund the police and to, slash their budgets and shrink them for the next 5 years. I mean, that's like the worst possible thing we can do to stop the violent crime in Baltimore City. They've got bills to release some of the most violent criminals, like the ones we're talking about that just committed some of these crimes just in the past week. We've had thousands of people murdered in the city of Baltimore, and it's just unconscionable, but nobody wants to do anything about it.
Well, do you believe that there is any optimism that we wouldn't continue to see 300 murders a year for this year and down the road?
Not if they refuse to take the violent repeat offenders off the streets, and not if you're not willing to incarcerate people who, commit heinous violent crimes and murder people in cold blood. And unfortunately, that's what we're up against with a 70% legislature that doesn't appear, at least in the House. The Senate has worked with us 2 years in a row. But we've got to get this very progressive House to try to take violent crime as seriously as they're taking police reform. I mean, we're not going to be able to do anything about it.
One of the things that we're going to try to do, Governor Larry Hogan here, Brian Neiman and I on our show, is deal with the issue of youth violence. We just had a horrible situation. The 41-year-old man trying to go to work at 5 a.m. last Friday who was carjacked by 3 teenagers. They ran him over with his own car and killed him. At least, if nothing else, can't the legislature and you come together on how we deal with violent young people? Because violent young people become adult violent people.
Well, they're actually trying to go about it the opposite way. In the most heinous violent crimes, where teenagers are being charged as adults because they've committed brutal murders. The legislature is trying to make it easier to release all of those folks rather than trying to actually stop people from committing the crimes. And some of the cases, just like the one you were just talking about, the one with the teenagers that just ran over the man on Friday, after they carjacked him.
Horrible.
Officer Amy Caprio. This would help release those criminals. It would require the family members of the victims to go through 13 different hearings to relive all of this stuff over and over again. I've paroled and commuted the sentences of more people than all the past 4 or 5 governors added together, and we do look at cases. We do believe in second chances, but this legislation is just talking about making it so almost nobody's going to ever do any time for hard crimes.
I'm talking with Governor Larry Hogan. It is opening day for the Orioles here in Baltimore, and I know that the Orioles and the Maryland Stadium Authority agreed to a short-term lease agreement, but is it an objective of yours to get something long-term before you leave your time as governor?
Yeah, absolutely. We were happy to get them to sign the short-term. We've been in negotiations with them for quite some time. It really is going to take, working together with the legislative leaders. They weren't able to get things done in this legislative session, which is why we got an extension. But we're going to have to make improvements to the stadium and work together with the team in partnership. I mean, our goal is to keep the Orioles here long term and continue to have Camden Yards as one of the great ballparks in America. And look, we're very excited about opening day today. The O's are off to a great start, 4-2. And we're looking forward to at least seeing a bunch of people out there, not a full stadium, but a lot of people out there with this beautiful weather watching the O's beat the Red Sox today.
Maryland Governor Larry Hogan, I know you've been outraged because I heard you talking about it, but Brian Neiman and I have been talking about the outrage that we have over what's happening with Baltimore City Public Schools as a result of the Project Baltimore series, looking at what I term as failure factories. These schools are just pushing kids out the door without them getting grades. Your own Inspector General that you helped push through, Governor, at the state level, Richard Henry, has weighed in on our show as well, investigating some of this. But how can they be screaming that they need more money when what they're doing is just pushing kids out of the building?
Well, this is probably my biggest frustration of the entire time I've been governor, that we've been unable to fix the problem of the school system, not just in Baltimore City, but in some other places. That's certainly the most egregious, where it's the 4th or 5th highest funded school system in America. They receive more money from the state, a percentage of their budget, than any other jurisdiction. And yet we have these terrible results. And time after time after time, the legislature has killed our attempts to create more accountability, to fix persistently failing schools. The teachers union seems to be against making improvements there. And it's just very frustrating that in spite of the incredible investments into the school systems there, they're not getting the results. It's so unfair to the kids. I'm so passionate that every single kid deserves a great education in our state, regardless of what neighborhood they happen to grow up in. And the fact that people don't want to work to fix these schools, that we're turning out, we're passing people when they haven't passed hardly any classes that we.
And it's directly linked to violence, God. This is directly linked to some of the violence that we see.
Absolutely, and that's why I've been calling for. I think the school board, the school superintendent, the city council, everybody needs to be held accountable. The state has very little control. We send them the money, and we have no ability to have anything to do with what they do after that. But we did. The one thing we did get through the legislature was such a tiny portion of our reform bills was to get this state inspector general, and we've asked him to investigate and get to the bottom of these most recent stories and the tragic stuff that's going on that was uncovered with Project Baltimore that you've been talking a lot about. And at least we'll be able to, he has subpoena powers and he can get the right information and we can try to get to the bottom of it. And then we've got to figure out how to make them fix it.
Yeah. I just wanted to circle back on that question about the vaccine once it's available to everybody. And like I said, it seems to me like mid-June. And you said, the businesses should be able to open up at 100%. So you see the possibility this summer then maybe in that time frame of June of saying 100% for restaurants?
On the supply of vaccines from the federal government and the uptake by people. We've got to get to the point where we're keeping people safe, where the hospitals are not overflowing, where we're not having so many deaths. And I think we can get there. And if they supply us, look, our infrastructure, we can do 100,000 a day right now, and we can knock it out in May. I don't think we're going to get all those doses from the federal government in time. But Joe Biden said he wanted to try to get things somewhat back to normal by the 4th of July. And I said, look, if they can give us the stuff we need, they give us the vaccines, we'd like to get things back to normal by Memorial Day. So, but we just can't. We have no control over what they're going to give us, as we found out this week when they cut us by 80,000 doses.
Right, but do you see the opportunity of maybe even having a full house at Camden Yards this summer?
I would love to see it, and as soon as we can get people vaccinated, that's certainly the ultimate goal. And when we reach that point, and our track record so far, like I said, we're outpacing most of the people in the country. We're very close to 80% of the people over 65, which is where most of our deaths were occurring. A lot of our hospitalizations. Unfortunately, these new, more contagious variants that are making people sicker are spreading like wildfire across the country, and they're hitting younger people. And we're seeing an slight increase in hospitalizations among people in their 20s, 30s, and 40s. So we got 48% of them all vaccinated. We want to get more because it's still a tough thing to deal with. I mean, our daily positivity today dropped pretty substantially down to 4.26, which is great. But, our positive 7 days down slightly. But our hospitalizations are slightly up. We still got, too many deaths to contend with. The virus hadn't gone away, but our goal all along has been to get our businesses open. We're doing far better than most states economically. Because we've been able to keep most of our businesses open the entire time. But I want to get rid of the restrictions, and I want to get life back to normal. It's all about how many people we can get vaccinated.
Well, Maryland Governor Larry Hogan, there's never enough time to get into all the issues, but we do appreciate the time that you share with us. And maybe after session, we get a little closer to June, we can get you back on to talk about some of these issues. Thank you so much, Governor.
Especially since you guys have both been vaccinated now. I'll come hang out with you.
Yeah, I can shake your hand. I can actually shake your hand.
Exactly. I'll give you a hug.
You just got it yesterday. You got to wait 2 weeks before.
We're going to wait. We're going to wait.
What a Danny Downer, Governor. He's a Danny
Thank you,
Downer.
Governor. Appreciate your time very much.
Governor.